July 27, 1919 marked one of the most important events in Chicago history, the unfortunate murder of Eugene Williams and the beginning of the violent events that followed. On that day, Williams and his friends decided to join others in challenging the border on the beach that separated the white beach from the black beach. While they were swimming across the border, a white man opposed their actions and threw rocks at Williams until he drowned to death. The events that took place that day soon led to riots between whites and blacks, which became known as the Chicago Race Riot of 1919.
In order to resolve the issues that were happening, the Illinois governor appointed a group to research underlying causes of the riot and ways to combat future ones. This group was called the Chicago Commission on Race Relations. It was made up of 12 citizens, 6 white and 6 black, in order to prevent biased decisions. The commission's psychological data from the research was published in 1922 as The Negro in Chicago. This book not only reported on the data of the race riot, but also addressed major issues such as competition for jobs, inadequate housing options for blacks, inconsistent law enforcement, and pervasive racial discrimination.
The incidents that the commission studied all had connections to the cause of the race riot of 1919. The commission studied more minor riots and murders that were associated with racial discrimination. One of the events that they investigated was the Springfield riot, where 2 black men and 4 white men were killed. With many rumors and accusations being made, Springfield was divided. A group of people came together and formed a mob as they stormed through the streets, started fires, threw bricks, and attacked the people of the town. The commission recorded this in the books because they thought that in order to understand where the hatred and discrimination evident in the 1919 riot came from, they needed to look back on past events.
The commission investigated and reported multiple issues throughout their study. 2 of these issues that were reported including housing problems for blacks and the racial terrorism they faced. In multiple sections, the commission reported black families that moved into white neighborhoods faced taunts, slurs, and threats. The most organized resistance to blacks moving into new neighborhoods that was reported was the bombing of their homes. The commission includes information on multiple cases of bombings like the Moses Fox's home. On the report of the bombing of Moses Fox's home, the commission documented that Moses Fox was a white man that lived at 422 East 45th Street. Since the house was too large, he decided to move into a smaller living space. His house was eventually sold through a real estate firm to a person he did not know. A few days after his home had been sold, on March 10, 1920, he received a call telling him that he must suffer the consequences of selling his home to Negroes. The same evening, witnesses say an automobile was seen driving past his home multiple times before a man deposited a long fuse bomb in the hallway entrance. The smoke from the bomb attracted Moses, but before he could reach the door, the bomb exploded. The front of the building was destroyed and all the windows were shattered, resulting in $1,000 worth of damage. Despite this, though, no arrests were made.
The commission affected many people, including whites and blacks, who were involved in the riot and other discriminatory actions. Within the commission was a section which they titled, The Recommendations of the Commission. Within that section, there are paragraphs dedicated to specific groups of people, such as the police, state's attorney, the Board of Education, different organizations, the public, and more. Each paragraph contains a list of detailed ways that the addressed group could help resolve the segregation and discrimination issues that were occurring.
Though there are still issues that occur regarding race today, the Commission on Race Relations played a large role in decreasing the severity of the issues and events that occur. In 1945, the Commission on Human Relations was created based off of the Commission on Race Relations. It continues to deal with matters that involve racial discrimination. Today, the Commission on Human Relations continues to deal with matters that involve racial discrimination by holding presentations regarding civil rights protections offered under the Chicago Human Ordinance to reduce discriminatory actions. They provide workshops addressing hate crimes, diversity, bullying, and conflict management. Under the Department of Human Relations, the Intergroup Relations respond to requests from communities involved in a dispute and mediate until tensions and conflicts reach a resolution.
The Commission on Race Relations and Human Relations have both been very beneficial to the progress that Chicago has made as a society when it comes to racial discrimination and segregation. Though some events and many important decisions that were made took place many years ago, they have a lasting impact on Chicago and the rest of the nation that allows for new changes to be made in order to benefit society.